ever, having the ability to access government information and doing it at the convenience of your home on a computer enables millions of people to become watchdogs as well as innovators. So one of the best disinfectants is what the president has driven around a transparency, open government, and participatory agenda, because at the end of the day, it's the government of the people, by the people.
Now, what are some of the results? I mean, can you see the results of what you have done so far?
Absolutely. Let's take data.gov as a simple example. As soon as we launched data.gov, within a matter of days, what ended up happening was an individual, a developer, created an application called flyontime.us. And what they did is they used a data set that came from the Federal Aviation Administration. And what this little application does, it actually tells you average delay times at all the airports. So if you're flying from Washington to New York City or to Chicago, before you even left, you could figure out what are the average delays of a specific flight before you actually even booked it. But more importantly, it also built in, using technology, a feed that allows people who are waiting in security lines to tell you what the average wait times are. So we're creating a platform that democratizes data that allows the American people to innovate using that data. In a similar fashion, if you think about what happened when the National Institutes of Health released human genome data, all of a sudden there are breakthroughs and discoveries in medicine. Also, if you think about what the decision that the Department of Defense made when it released satellite data, what ended up happening was a new industry around GPS was born.
That's very
true.
To
where, whether you're on your iPhone or in your car, you can find your way around a new city or your neighborhood. In the same way, imagine what could happen as we unleash information around healthcare, environment, and education.
What are some of the challenges in that arena, or if there are any?
Well, a big challenge, of course, is you've got some systems that may be outdated, so you need to make investments. An example is at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, where they would have to upgrade some of their systems to make sure that they can release all this information. Second is around privacy and security. It's one thing to release data at a state level or at a national level, but imagine if you're releasing data around healthcare at a zip code level in a rural part of the country. There may be only one person. So it's a balance between protecting the privacy of the American people and at the same time making sure that the operations of government are open and transparent.
I read somewhere that you are getting into big ways into cloud computing. Tell me a little bit about cloud computing. How are you driving that space?
Sure. So a couple of months ago, we actually launched the federal government's cloud computing strategy at the NASA Ames Center. And part of the reason we're focused on cloud computing is if you look at what happened in the last 10 years, the federal government went from 498 data centers to over 1,200 data centers.
Wow.
What that means is most CIOs within the federal government are very focused on building data centers and networks and deploying servers, and unfortunately haven't spent as much time and energy and resources on service delivery. To give you an example, if you look at the way you deal with the student aid form, which is a FAFSA form called a Federal Student Aid Form, for an individual to apply online for student aid was more complicated than actually filling out the 1040 form.
Wow.
By simply bringing together the CIOs, what we've been able to do, and in January we'll be launching a new improved FAFSA form. It actually eliminates over 72 questions and 20 web screens, because now the IRS data will be shared with the student who clicks one button and it automatically fills out the Department of Education form. And what we want to do is we want to shift our resources so that the American people are the beneficiaries of the investments we're making in technology, and we make investments that are going to make the lives of the American people easier.
They certainly will make the lives easier, but would it be called Uncle Sam knows everything about me?
Well, no, because you still have the privacy protections, whether it's dealing with the IRS or the Department of Education. The challenge for far too long has been that we continue to spend billions of dollars in infrastructure. We actually spend over 19 billion annually. Yet we haven't fundamentally changed the way we focus on service delivery. To give you another example, the president has challenged the Department of Homeland Security to deploy in 90 days a solution that would allow anyone to go online if they've applied for a green card or a visa and find out where they are in the process. Unfortunately, what used to happen is you had to hire an attorney to figure out where in the process are you. So within 90 days, what was supposed to be a 5-year project, USCIS actually deployed a solution to where now you can go online and you can find out where you are in the process, how many days you have to wait for the next step. Are you in the fingerprinting process? Are you waiting for the interview? But not only that, but we also released a dashboard that allows you to see the average processing times of immigration forms and green cards and visas, New York City versus Houston, Texas versus Washington, because that's driven towards the public rather than building another data center. So our investments in cloud computing are to make sure that we shift our resources and energy away from building one data center after the other and towards service delivery, whether it's in making sure we're promoting education or making sure that the public knows where they are when it comes to transactions with the government.
Now, those folks who don't know what cloud computing and data center is, how would you tell them what cloud computing is? Why is it better?
Sure. From a personal level, think of it along the lines of how you communicate, whether it's with email or sharing photos or launching blogs. You don't have to go out there and build your own special center and hire an IT manager and an army of consultants